All right. So, welcome everybody. My name is Amy Coppola, and I am so excited to have Sara Jensen with us here tonight. And before we dive into the book, I want to know if you can relate with me because I'm 47 years old at this moment in time. And it was about 4 or 5 years ago that despite exercising, despite having my nutrition in check, just started having some experience, really significant differences in the way that my body was reacting. And I was having weight gain. I was having night sweats. I was having hot flashes. I was having all of these things, brain fog, irritability, achy joints, all these things started popping up. And I was a health coach. And I was like, what in the world is going on to me? And it was really frustrating. It was very humbling also to realize that maybe things went more than, it went deeper than just exercise and nutrition. And of course, those things are important, but that's when I turned to hormone health. And a lot of times it's not until we experience a crisis in our hormone health or like Sarah and Ben's experience with infertility or things like that that we don't give it attention. But I'm so happy that Sarah has written this book and has taken on the mission to make this a normal conversation that we're educating and teaching these things earlier on so we can make really healthy choices throughout our lives, throughout, every different stage and experience. So what I wanted to start with, Sarah, is just your story. Like it was amazing reading your book because it felt like I was talking right to you. The stories that you shared, and for those of you who haven't read it yet, the first few chapters are her and Ben's personal experience. So Sarah, how was that like just putting it all out there and just really stepping into that courageous space of sharing your actual story?
I told Amy this earlier today that when I wrote the story, and we talk about sex and we talk about the struggles. And my grandma called me and she's like, I'm reading your book. I'm like, oh, I didn't think about you reading that. When I wrote it. But sharing is, and I could talk about it and I get emotional, but like that's what brought us our lives. I mean, that changed our entire life. And so it was, there was a lot of tears when I wrote this book. And even I had my sister and sister-in-law send me things that they wanted to include. And just it's so real and it's something important. Everyone struggles with something related to hormones at some point of time, whether it's puberty, whether it's
Right.
perimenopause, menopause. But do you want me to tell a story briefly? Because you guys will
Sure,
get
sure. Just
all
in
of
case, we'll give you the Cliff Note version of the story in case you haven't started the book yet. But yes, please do, Sarah.
Yeah, so my husband and I, we struggled with unexplained infertility for 14 years. And I mean, I was raised the oldest of six kids. I thought I was going to be a stay-at-home mom with four kids. That was my goal in life. And so when I say that not ever getting pregnant for those 14 years was hell, because month after month of failure and spending every dime we had on either fertility treatments or therapy or acupuncture or whatever it was. And you talk about being fit. I was an ultra marathoner. Ben was in CrossFit. Like outside looking in, we were very healthy and, ate everything right and did everything. And like I made major lifestyle changes trying to get pregnant. I stopped running. We sacrificed a lot. I'll
Yeah.
say that. And it was our sixth round of IVF. I can talk about this even maybe later, Amy, but it was just, we were in a best doctor in Beverly Hills. We had, went to doctors all across the country trying to figure out what was wrong with us. No one could ever figure it out. And I just broke down sobbing in the doctor's office saying like, I can't keep doing this. This is almost ended our marriage multiple times. It's breaking me as a woman. And I just said, look, we can't keep just paying and spending all of our money on this. And it was then when he said, well, what chemicals are you spraying around your house? What skincare and wellness products are you using? Because those can impact your hormones. And with IVF, they're trying to manipulate your hormones to get you pregnant. And it was that realization and just an aha understanding what hormones were, the importance of them. We talk about this. I was always, for my IVF rounds, I was always prescribed a hormone cream. And
Mhm.
I rub a pea-sized amount of a cream on my leg at night, go in the next morning, get my blood work done, and my hormones would spike significantly. And it was that aha moment when saying, like, oh my gosh, if this small amount of a cream impacts my hormones in such significant ways, other things do as well. But the absolute best part of the story is my husband's sister, Jenna, volunteered to be our surrogate, and she gave birth to our Hugh. And then a year later, my sister called me and said, I want to try to give Hugh a sibling. So she gave birth to Grace. And it was that magic of having them. And then after having our kids and just realizing when we first learned about hormones, we were thinking of hormones and fertility because that
Right.
was our focus for so many years. But taking a step back and seeing how hormones really, truly impact everything in your physical health, your mental health, your sexual health. You heard about that in the book.
Yeah.
But saying, how do we? I mean, first of all, we were so fortunate that we could afford the treatments and that we had amazing family members who sacrificed so much for us. But realizing this topic truly impacts every single person on this earth, like how do we create a solution? And so what? So then it goes more. But that was the genesis of Hugh and Grace, and then the book saying like we more people need to know this. People need to know that there's. I had no clue that products could impact my fertility.
Right. Yeah. And I love that in the book you actually go into because so many times when we talk about hormone health, we automatically think testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, like that's our basic knowledge of hormone health. But I love that you actually get into the specifics of hormone health, which also includes thyroid, cortisol, insulin, and really giving such a basic but foundational education on why each of these things matter and how it plays a role, not just in our physical health, but as you go into in the book, in mental health and, giving your very specific personal experiences as well. And also sexual health. I remember one time Kaylee and I did a workshop and we were, teaching all the things that we love to teach and everything. And we got to the end and this brave woman in the back put up her hand. She goes, can we talk about sex, please? And I was like, of course, it's our favorite topic. I'm so sorry we skipped over that. But so many times there's changes in libido, there's pain in intercourse later on in peri and menopause. And there's so many things that when we just think of, the physical, we don't always encompass everything that's impacted, as well as, even for the whole family, the ways that it can impact. So I really love that you go into all of those different pieces, even before, and even like, how does this affect society? Like that part was just like so eye-opening because, there's so many diseases and issues that are happening because of hormone imbalances or things that we're, doing on a daily basis that we have the power to help improve. Speaking of that, why did you choose to go with the model that you did when you did launch your company? Why not stick it on a Sephora
Yes.
shelf?
Yeah. So for those who don't know Hugh and Grace, you'll learn about Hugh and Grace, the kids, but also the business Hugh and Grace. The name Hugh means heart, mind, and spirit, and Grace means goodness, generosity, and love. And it's very meaningful. When we finally had our kids, I told you, I'm like, in the book, I said, I couldn't sleep. Because I said, Ben, what we learned truly impacts everyone. And how do we create a solution so people hopefully didn't have to go through what we went through? And Ben at the time was operating a multi-billion-dollar family office in Beverly Hills and overseeing global investments and companies. I was in philanthropy. I had my MBA from the University of Southern California, and I was working with our billionaires over the country and helping people name buildings and endow scholarships. And we had this amazing network of very talented, successful individuals. And we said, we need to create a solution so people could have better mental health, better sexual health. And what does that solution even look like? And so we actually started with the problem and we said, well, what goes on in around your body impacts your hormones positively or negatively. And so we need to create skincare, home care, wellness, hair care, but let's do it in a way that really empowers people. And people now are talking about hormone health. And it was so funny. A lot of us are now in perimenopause, menopause, knowing it's so like crucial. But I was talking to my guy friends. I'm like, we have a hormone health company. He's like, Sarah, he's like, that's so niche. He's like, just for women. I'm like, no, men have testosterone. And
Yeah.
there's a lot not but it was saying okay we really need to educate the public,
Right.
and this is 7-8 years ago when no one was talking about hormone health, and we're like we can't just put the products on Sephora shelf and people expect people to know. And now people are understanding like they need to look at the ingredients, but that's still overwhelming when you're purchasing for your household, and you're it's just a lot. I don't have time to read every single label. And so we said, well, let's create really amazing products. So this is another statistic we learned. The average American woman applies 12 products a day, which is over 160 chemicals a day. The average man applies over 80 chemicals a day, and we're exposed to hundreds more in our environment. And we said if we can just slowly reduce the number of toxic chemicals people are applying on a daily basis, that they can live healthier, happier, simpler lives. And so we said, okay, and then we were looking at the business and said, okay, what should we do? And we launched with skincare with a thought that what goes on your body gets in your body. Then we launched wellness a year later, then home care, and then hair care. But we were saying if people don't understand the importance of this, we really have to create education and
Yep.
awareness and community and products. And so we chose direct sales as a model. And it's been really rewarding. Ben and I had never, ever been affiliated with a direct sales company. And you think of it as, and what we do is we reward performance, but people who care about a mission, people who are excited about the topic of hormone health and talk about it. Because it's our story facilitates other people's stories. Just like you were saying, Amy, that you were here as health coach and you were
Yeah.
it was changing. And it's not infertility, but some people hear a story and they're like, I went through breast cancer,
Yeah.
or I have friends who are struggling with a major health issue. And so really creating a platform where people can come together and authentically talk about real life issues, but also have the supporting products and having education and really that community of people who care and
Yeah.
who are purpose driven and mission driven, and partnering and finding those people where we have thousands of people who care about this topic and who make money with it, and who earn incentive trips, and we do live events, and like we just had an amazing conference in Chicago. But it's really finding a community of people who want to, I say we are real people making real impact.
Yeah, that really can educate. Because, like, I remember when I was first trying to sort through all this, going to Target and standing there with Angelina, my daughter, and she's 16 now, but we're sitting there looking at all these skincare products, trying to find one, a cleanser that was clean for her. And it was so challenging and not even like understanding how to read the labels and that type thing. So it's been, really cool getting to learn this alongside her, alongside my son. I love in the book how you have a few of the Hugh and Grace simple swaps, but there's so many lifestyle tips. There's so many everyday, like I love how you broke it up into routines because that's what we do every day, right? We have our morning routine, we have our night routine, we have our Uber driver, if you have teens in the afternoon routine. We have all these routines throughout our day that it's so easy the way that you broke it down in the book to say, hey, in the daytime when you're sitting at your office desk, in order to increase dopamine, you can put on some bossa nova. And I was like, that's actually one of my favorite channels. And it's these simple tips, but when we start having this education that you've provided in the book and really understanding what impacts hormone health, what all it encompasses, and how we can start swapping out these small, minute things, what a big impact it can make. And I know one of the first times I met you and we spoke, I was so impressed that you gave me permission that I didn't have to be perfect because cortisol is a real thing. And us type A trying to be like super moms and do everything right, trying to be perfect, trying to eliminate every single thing, that's not realistic. It's not likely going to happen. But what you gave me permission to do is like, hey, just create some progress. Just come in here and swap out this little thing. What else could you do better today? So, as you guys get into the book, you're going to start seeing how many really great small ideas are in there. And like, I would encourage you, pick one or two that you can start incorporating every day from those routines. And you don't have to do everything all at one time, but there's just so many really great ideas that are laid out, tangible steps that are laid out. What are some of the things that you would suggest to somebody first coming in, first starting to think about hormone health? What would be your best advice, Sarah?
The best advice, I like how you said the simple swaps.
Yeah.
Um, there's a study, we talked about a study in there where Berkeley, they were measuring teens, and for 3 days, they swapped out their products. 3 days. After 3 days, they tested them and they had reduction of chemicals or endocrine disrupting chemicals
Yeah.
reduced by 25 to 45%
In just
in only 3 days. And there are so many more and more studies coming out that show just by swapping out products, swapping out your home care. And I feel like that's something that's easy. I
yeah,
think people think like, oh, I can swap that out versus like I have to make this whole lifestyle change or I have to change my diet or I need to change my exercise routine.
right.
Even I was on a panel, a hormone health panel, and they said, what's something simple that you can do today and right now? And the other two panelists said, get an appointment with your doctor and get your blood work done. And the other one's like, get this tested and make sure, and like you can feel like the stress, like cortisol rising.
Right. Yeah.
Like everyone, let's box breathe.
Yeah. Ah,
In for four, hold for four, out for four, hold for four. And
yeah.
it's really something that's that simple, whether it's spending time with great people
Hmm.
who love and support you, getting sunlight, going for a walk. But I think it's just also you talk about it's never perfection, it's progress. And just feeling like, oh, I can do one thing today.
Yeah.
And that can lead to something else. I think it's just, the more you learn, the better you do
Right.
is there. I saw Kaylee asked a question in the comments. Do you want me to answer that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Kaylee says, what about getting results without the chemicals? Can you speak to that? I think we assume that gentler, safer products, we lose results. So yes, I used to think that because here I was, our last careers, we had very fancy lives.
Yeah.
And I had all the expensive products and the whole regimen. And I can honestly tell you at age 47, my skin's better than in the 20s and 30s when I was using all those products.
Right.
And so when we, decided that we were going to start this company and we're putting our kids' names on these products, I'm like, these products have to actually really, really work.
Yeah.
And we were, and thankfully, because of our relationships, we were able to get introductions to the best manufacturers in different product categories. That as a young brand, they would never work with us.
Right.
And we had several product manufacturers that said we can't do it. And so like we just don't, we can't do that, we won't do that. But we test and test, and sometimes products take years for us to formulate. Everything is formulated just for us. We don't white label anything. We haven't taken products off the shelf, but we do it where it's one statistic I told you about the number of chemicals, where we want every product to be versatile. Products that are good for men, women, kids during pregnancy. Because first of all, that saves the number of chemicals you're applying on a daily basis, but also it saves you money
Yeah.
because your entire family can use it. And we also want to be a luxurious experience. I mean, we have some of the Waldorf Astorias and Four Seasons that carry our products.
Right.
And so these are products that when you're excited about using a product, you use it more and your family uses it more. When you start seeing results, then you want to keep using it.
Right. Yeah, and for me too, just thinking about, my future family, like I want to instill these healthier habits and ideas and products and education into my children who aren't such children anymore. They're 16 and 19, but I want to be able to facilitate in them this education and this awareness from earlier on so that way as they're moving into their own days of, pregnancy or growing a family and then, it's just this beautiful thing that we can continue passing down. It's not just a, one-time thing. This is an actual generational shift that you are leading the charge on, Sarah. So,
We.
we, but it's amazing to me how you could have, after you had your miracle babies that you worked so hard for, you could have said, I'm out of here. But you have really led the way in courage and in bravery and in authenticity and, and in excellence because you've created a book to educate. You've created social connections and you're such a great social connector, but you introduce people and you create these things that can help support the mission to continue just elevating everybody. And I love to see this in 15 years. How has this impacted society? And when can we see that ripple when we look back of boom, there's where we really put our foot into the ground and said, hey, there's a better way to do things. And it doesn't have to be perfection. It can be Botox if you need it, but also your hydrate detox every day, or your box breathing, or your daily walk in sunshine. There's so much, that I'm just so thankful that you've really, stepped up for. We don't want to keep everybody too long. We know that your time is valuable, but Sarah, any final things that you'd like to say to those who have already read the book and who are getting ready to read the book?
Thank you, because this topic is so important.
Yeah.
And I feel like it will benefit everybody. And just knowing that sometimes, like, it's not you, it's your environment, and giving yourself some grace
Yeah.
and knowing that you do have control. You can control what you purchase, you can control who you spend time with, you can control some of your actions, and just hopefully that gives you more confidence and lets you know that you're not alone. This is something we created what we wish you would have had through our 14 years. And hearing people make such great friendships and share things that are truly impacting other people, that's so rewarding for us. I think my only ask is if you like this, share it,
Yeah.
because this is something it's 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 life changing,
Yeah.
and something that we are. My husband and I were co-founders, co-CEOs, and parents, co-parents. And like this is all encompassing, but it's something that we are so passionate about. And we know I'm speaking in Dubai next week at a longevity conference. We're in Phoenix right now for the Inc. 5000 Fastest Growing Companies Award. It's the interest is global.
Yeah.
And the fact that we can bring people together and have products that you're already using, these are just better performing products that you're going to love. I promise you'll love them. But it's something special to do it with such amazing people who truly care. So I would just ask that you share it.
Definitely. And in case you haven't been on Amazon today, there's actually the digital Kindle version, which you don't have to have a Kindle. You can get it on anything. I'm not sure about the recording if this is still going to be there, but watch the recording quick because right now it's available for only 99 cents. There's also a paperback version that you can order. And I'm telling you right now, all of the women in my life are getting that for Christmas. I hope my sisters aren't on because they're already going to hear that. But this is something that it's a gift that keeps on giving because it's a beautiful gift. But the education, the empowerment when we know how to navigate through these different seasons and give the best to our families is something that will continue on forever. So, yes, I got both as well, Chrissy. I have all the copies in all the different formats. But thank you all for joining us tonight, Sarah. Thank you again. We really appreciate your time. I know you're got a jam-packed schedule, but you always show up and show out. So thank you. And thank you all for joining us. Have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.